I can't help but stare at Hieronymous, who is just standing by the bedroom window with his arms crossed over his chest. I keep pacing back and forth across the length of the room, totally at a loss for what to say to him. Virginia, of course, had been ecstatic. Her parents had been shocked, but no one in the room could have been as surprised as I was. I don't like it when you're mad at me, Hieronymous says gently. And I don't like it when I have no idea what to say to you, I counter. I don't like it when you do things without asking me. We are supposed to be a team. We are supposed to do things together. And then you do this without even asking me? Do you really want to see the Dansons raising yet another child? He asks. Do you really want them to take Alice back to the States? Okay, Jenny might be a slavish sycophant, but William, Virginia, and Donald all turned out okay, I remind him. We don't have time to be parents right now. You know this. Virginia will stay and take care of her, he reminds me. This is what she wanted. Whether we adopted her or not, she was always going to stay here to take care of the child, and we were always going to go back to work. I don't know, I say quietly as I shake my head back and forth. I just don't know. If I'm going to officially be a mother, I don't want to just walk away and let someone else take care of the hard stuff. Then you can stay, Hieronymous says gently. At least for a while. I need to return to work, but if you want to stay... But you're meeting with Count Tenson next week, I remind him. He hates you, but he loves me, remember? You need me there to make sure everything goes smoothly. Hieronymous sighs. This is true. I am also supposed to be meeting with Lord Coulson soon, and I need you there. I can't help but frown. I thought you met with Lord Coulson while I was in Italy. I was under that impression as well, Hieronymous says with a sigh. However, he refused to meet without you there. Suffice it to say, Tori, you have made quite an impression on some nobles when you took over my duties during my absence. They will not do a thing without your involvement. I'm sorry for that, I say with a sigh as I look down at my feet. I'm sorry that I made your life harder than it had to be, especially now. And I'm sorry I didn't wake you up sooner. I should have... Hieronymous quickly comes towards me as he tilts my chin up with one slender finger. He looks into my eyes for a moment before he reaches down, kissing me softly. Never apologize for that, he says softly. We lost 7 months together. This is true, but think of how strong our relationship became because of it. I'd like to think we would be just as strong if that never happened, I admit softly. I wish I could have just graduated from Iris Academy like we planned. Then you could have scooped me up in your arms and carried me off, and we could have just traveled around the world together. There will still be time for that yet, Hieronymous says with a smirk. He reaches down to kiss me, but I take a step back away from him. Not if we have kids, I remind him. I know that you got close to Alice, but like you said, it's only been 1 week. Are you absolutely and totally sure that you want to do this? Hieronymous shakes his head. It was an impulsive bid, he says at last. But after the week we just spent together, I think we have the potential to be great parents if we are willing to put in the time and the effort. The question is, Tori, what do you want? Well, I say thoughtfully, I want you. I want to have a family. And we did get along with Alice, at least for a week. So, I think it's worth a shot. Besides, she's only a few weeks old right now. If things get easier in a few years, then we can be more present when she's coming of age. Right now, she probably won't even remember us, whether we're involved or not. After all, how much do you remember from when you were a baby? Not much, Hieronymous admits, but you know that my father purposely altered my childhood memories on at least one occasion. I don't know if there was anything I could have remembered that he had simply erased. Oh, I say softly. Well, if it's any consolation, I remember pretty much nothing from when I was a kid, and I know for a fact that my parents never used memory spells on me. I think my earliest memory is from when I was at least 7, so as long as we start making an effort when she's around that age, I'm sure we'll be fine. Hieronymus can't help but chuckle under his breath. As loath as I am to admit it, Mrs. Danson does have a point, Tori. She would benefit greatly from sibling companionship. I bite my lip as I stare up at him, almost mystified. Does that mean you're considering what we talked about earlier? I ask him. Does this mean you're willing to ask Virginia to be a surrogate for us in a few years? A lot can change in a few years, he reminds me. In either case, it would be bad form to ask her to commit to such a thing now. If she is no longer caring for Alice, she may choose to leave Shetlock and go elsewhere. I don't think she's going to go anywhere, I say with a shake of my head. I mean, she loves Alice. I don't doubt that. But Virginia has this weird thing about taking responsibility for someone else. I'm not sure why. I think it's probably related to some deep emotional thing from her childhood, but Virginia is super private about that kind of stuff, and I feel like it would be rude to ask. I can't help but pause for a moment. What happens if she changes her mind? I ask suddenly. What if we go through with the adoption and then Virginia changes her mind in a few months or a few years and decides she wants her daughter back? Hieronymus just shakes his head. That was one of my concerns as well, but it doesn't matter who has ownership of the child, Tori. All that matters is that the child is being raised in a happy, healthy environment. Whether she is being raised by us or the Danson family, as long as she knows she is being loved and cared for, that's all that matters. I feel my lower lip tremble as I rush forward and hug Hieronymus, wrapping my arms around him. Putting myself in his position, I could suddenly understand why he felt protective of Alice. He had been raised by foster families who had never really shown him the kind of unconditional love and care he needed, and Hieronymus wanted to make sure that Alice had that support, even if he wasn't directly involved in her upbringing. It was such a mature, responsible perspective that I can't help but suddenly feel overwhelmed by emotion as I let out a small sniff into his shirt. Didn't I tell you that you'd be a good father? I tease him, and Hieronymus just chuckles playfully as he rolls his eyes. Only time will tell.